Okay, we come to the last experiment, which is 12th one. The title of that experiment is Harmonic Analysis of a Beam. And here, our aim of this experiment is to determine the harmonic response of a cantilever beam using this ANSYS software. So I think all of you know what is the harmonic response. That means when a beam which is subjected to harmonic force, what is its response? Harmonic force in the sense a force which is varying with some frequency. You can see that here in the problem itself we define the harmonic force is 100 sine omega t, where 100 is the amplitude of the force and omega is the frequency of this applied force. So in the diagram you can clearly see that the force is applied at the free end of the cantilever. So with this, so what is going to be the behavior, harmonic behavior? That means you need to find out what is the maximum amplitude in the or amplitude of the cantilever beam when it is subjected to this harmonic force. So we know in case of cantilever beam, wherever you apply the force, the deflection is maximum at the free end only. So here we are applying the force at the free end. So therefore the deflection is maximum only at the free end. So if you are able to find out what is the displacement amplitude at the free end, that is going to be the maximum value in the entire beam. So that means our intention is we want to find out what is the amplitude of the displacement amplitude of this beam. That means we need to find out what is the amplitude at the free end of the beam. And also if you want to find out what is the phase angle, you can calculate the phase angle also. So we need to specify only these two. So here also we'll consider undamped system only. We are not considering any damping. So obviously in case of undamped system, your phase angle may be either 0 degrees or 180 degrees. Amplitude will be according to your frequency ratio, that is omega by omega n. So your beam will have some natural frequencies, and this one exciting force has some frequency omega. So ratio of those two, that is omega by omega n, we'll call it as a frequency ratio. Based on frequency ratio, you'll get the amplitude. So if you recall, maybe vibration class students may know it about very well. Other students also maybe in your DOM you might have studied about these vibrations. The formula for to compute that amplitude. So if I denote the amplitude as some x, capital X, which is nothing but the formula for that is 1 by 1 minus r square. So where your r is nothing but frequency ratio, the omega by omega n whole square. So by changing this omega value, I'll get the different r values. At different r values, what is going to be the amplitude? So like that, we can calculate. You can use the analytical formula to find that. But for that, to find that, first you should know what are the natural frequencies also. Omega n also required. So therefore, for in this problem, first what we'll do is, we'll try to solve for the solve for the natural frequencies using model analysis. That means we'll first find out what are the natural frequency of the this beam. Then we'll run the harmonic analysis and we see how the amplitude is varying with respect to the frequency also. We'll plot those two graphs also. So that's what here is given in this one. So you need to plot what is the displacement amplitude and what is the phase angle. So for that, first we'll run the model analysis, then we'll run the harmonic analysis. So to model this one, for the FE modeling, we'll use the same element beam 188 what we used earlier. So we know about this beam 188. So I'm not going in depth again about that element. So we'll try to divide this beam into 20 elements, and we are applying the free end. At this free end, you need to apply the harmonic force. At this end, it is fixed. You can see that since it is a cantilever, it is fixed at this node. At this left end, it is fixed. You can see that this is going to be the FE model. Okay. So now remaining things are same. I think all of you know how to define the cross section of this beam and how to select the element type, all those things. Anyway, I'll show you that while doing in the software, but I'm not explaining all those things in detail here because you already know that. But only important point here is you need to define the density also. In addition to Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio, you need to define density also for this problem, because in our dynamic analysis, or if you want to calculate natural frequency required mass. So I think in the previous experiment you already seen the analytical formula is square root of k equivalent by m. So where you require the mass to calculate the natural frequencies. So here I am not defining the mass, but still I am defining the density. So once you define the density, I am defining the cross section and length of the element. So based on that length and cross section details and this density, it will calculate the mass or mass matrix for the analysis. So like that, it can using those values, it can calculate the natural frequencies. Okay, right. Now we'll see the solution in the software. How we can do that. I'm not given the analytical solution for this. If you are interested, you can try it, or else you can leave the analytical solution results. Anyway, in our result section, you don't have to compare anything here. Just you need to paste those two plots here. So that means analytical solution is not required, or if you are interested, you can try it. So I already told you the formula 1 by 1 minus r square is the amplitude formula. So you can try that also. Use that formula and you can check the solution also. Okay, right. So now I'll take you to the software here. So the title is I given it as harmonic analysis. So then first we'll model and we'll run the model analysis. Then we'll go for the harmonic analysis. So for that we need to select our element type. So it is a beam. We need to select beam 188 as our element type. Okay. Then you need to define the material properties. So material models. Then I'll go for structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. Young's modulus is given 200 GPa. So 200 E9 I'll take. So I'll take all the units are in meters. So therefore I define that 200 E9. Then this is 0.3 is Poisson's ratio. Then I need to define the density also. Density is 7850. So you need to define both density and Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio. Once you've done that, you can go for sections, beam, then common section. So here in the problem, he has given the section details also. If you look at the data here, harmonic beam, determine the harmonic response of a cantilever beam of length 1 meter and made of mild steel with a square cross section of side 0.01 meter. So that means, so here in the section instead of square, so I'll select rectangle. Rectangle is a square is a special case of rectangle. So I'll write rectangle and I'll give B and H, which is same. So 0.01. Click OK. So section is defined. Then I'll go for modeling. So to model that beam, first I'll define the key points at the ends. So that is first key point is at 0 and second key point is 1 because length of the beam is 1 meter. So I define the two key points. Then I'll join these two key points by straight lines. Straight line. I'll select key point 1 and key point 2 to define the line. Then I need to convert this one into FE model, that is elements. So for that, I'll use mesh tool. I'll go for meshing, mesh tool. Then let us say I want to divide this one into some 20 elements. So you set that controls here, lines, click on set, select this line, click OK, and give number of element divisions as 20 instead of edge length. Now here we'll use this option, second option. So give 20, then click OK. Then you click on mesh, you select this line and then click OK. So then only it is meshed. So then we need to apply the loads and boundary conditions. So he has given it as a cantilever. So this end should be fixed. So I'll go for apply displacement on nodes, or you can use key points also if you want. I'll select this leftmost node and I'll select all degrees of freedom. I'll click OK. So this end is fixed. And also since it is a beam problem here, so we already discussed this beam element will have 6 degrees of freedom, but we required only 3. So unnecessary degrees of freedom, that is rotation X, rotation Y and UZ, I can constrain all those things because they are not required. What I'll do is to filter unnecessary degrees of freedom, what I'll do is I'll make their values are 0. I'll use pick all here. Then what I'll do is unnecessary degrees of freedom, that is UZ, rotation X, rotation y, I'll make them zeros. Okay, so that's it. So once you've done this, then you can run your modal analysis to find the natural frequencies. For that, you need to go for analysis type, then new analysis, set your analysis as a modal analysis, then click on analysis options. So how many number of frequencies you have? Since I have a 21 nodes here, so each node has 3 degrees of freedom. My system has 20 into 3, the total 60 natural frequencies. If you want, you can extract up to 60, or if you want, you can extract as per your wish. Let us say, I say 10. So it will give you only 10 natural frequency values. Okay. So then you solve it. Solve current LS. So your solution is done. So now to see the natural frequencies, you can go for a result summary here. So you can see it is listed only 10 frequencies. If you want to have more than 10, you can give the number that whatever number you want, you can give input there. It will list you those number of frequencies. So the first frequency is 8.158, second one is 51.352. So the same thing you can see that in this window also, output window also, you can see the same thing. See, you can see here. See, those frequencies are listed here also. You can see that also. Okay. So this is how you can find the natural frequencies of a cantilever beam. So that is the first part of your solution. Now we'll go for the harmonic analysis. That means, so far we have done only free vibration. That means I have not applied any external force. So therefore we'll call it as a free vibration analysis. The resulting frequencies, what we'll call it as a natural frequencies. So now we'll go for the harmonic analysis. So that means we need to apply that external force which he has given it as 100 sine omega t. So for that you go for again analysis type, new analysis, then now you select it as harmonic. Click OK. Then under the analysis options, you click on this. So whatever default things is there, you can take it as it is. No need to change anything, those things. So then we need to apply that force now. So go for define loads, apply, then structural. Under that you need to select force, where you need to apply at the free end. So I'll select the nodes option. I'll select the last node to apply that force. Click OK. In which direction the force is acting? It is acting in the y direction. So I'll select Fy and its magnitude is, so it is asking for real and imaginary part of the force. So here we have only real part of the force, which is 100. Imaginary part is 0. I'll leave that blank. So I'll enter 100 and leave it. So see, you can see a upward force of 100 newtons is applied here. Of course, it is a cyclic force. That sine omega t we are not applying here. So if you select your analysis as a harmonic, whatever force you apply here, it will treat that force as a harmonic force. That means obviously the sine function will take care, software will take care of about it. So no need to apply sine here. Okay. So then once you apply the forces, then what I need to do is I need to define the load steps here. That means time and frequency. So like in that harmonic force function, you have 100 sine omega t. What is that omega is? That omega is defined here, harmonic frequency range. So we compute the natural frequencies up to 2000 there. So I'll give it here to see the response of the beam up to 2500. So from 0 to our lowest natural frequency or fundamental natural frequency is 8.15 we got. So therefore I will keep the lower limit for our frequency range is 0, that is free vibration, and upper range I'll take it as 2500. So then within this 0 to 2500, how many number of substeps I need to consider? That means at what frequency value I want to, or at what omega value I want to find the amplitude. So that means based on that I'll decide this number of substeps. That means for every 10 hertz frequency, that is omega is equal to 0, omega is equal to 10, omega is equal to 20, 30, 40, like that. If I want to get the solution for those frequency values, here I need to divide this range 2500 divided by 10. So then whatever I got it is, I need to enter that value here. Price 250. 2500 divided by 10 is nothing but 250. Or if you don't want to have for every 5, if you want for every 5 frequency, 5 hertz frequency, you want a result 2500 divided by 5. So therefore it is 500. Like that, you can select your range and your number of steps for our analysis. So let us take it as 500 and click OK. So I'll save it. So in between it is crashing. That's why I'm saving it here. So then what you need to do is you go for solve current LS. So again, ignore this error and click yes. You can see in the output window, it will solve for those many number of steps. See load step, last one is 500. You can see that here in the, so it will start from 1 and it will end at 500. So you can see this message, solution is done means it is done. Close it. Then, so we need to go for this time history post processor. Wherever you want to find the displacement amplitude, you need to select that node here. So we know the displacement is maximum only at the free end. I need to select the node at this free end. So for that, click here plus symbol, that is add data, and then go for degrees of freedom. We want to see what is the y component. Why? Because y component, our force is in y direction. So the displacement will be also in y direction. So therefore I need to select y component of displacement. Click OK, and then I need to select this node. So click OK. See now that result is get added here. So now if you want, you can plot it now. If you click plot, you can see that. So this is the graph. So this is the amplitude, how it is going to change. So this is the plot. Or if you want to list, you can see that this is the listed values. At 5 frequency, what is the value? At 10, what is the value? So, but the problem with this here is actually our national frequency is 8.15. First national frequency is 8.15. We have not calculated the value at that point. So we have calculated at 5 and at 10. But in the software, it is interpolated and you can see that you have a peak values here. These peak values are corresponding to those natural frequencies, that is 8.15. And also see here it may be the, see whatever peaks you observe here. So these peaks are corresponding to your one of the natural frequencies. You can see that up to 2000 only. So beyond the 2000, you don't have peak values here because we have not calculated the natural frequencies at the beyond this point. So only at the respective peak values only you have a natural frequencies. And also you can see that here I selected the amplitude. Defaultly it will select it as amplitude. You can get it. So now if I want to zoom this graph, you can clearly see that it is going to be okay somewhere. So any peak you can zoom it here. Okay, maybe it is not possible here. Okay, I'll click on plus. Okay, it is not zooming out. So anyway, so if you zoom this one something like this, it is going to be your frequency response curve. If you maybe the vibration people who are studying the vibration course, they might have known this. So the frequency response curve, how it is going to change for the respective frequency, you can see that this plot is similar to that. Okay, so this is the graph what you need to keep the neighbor record. So under results you need to keep this. And also not only that, suppose sometimes what they will do is people will plot these curves on a log basis also. That means you can do that also. That means I'll take here instead of log we'll use semi-log option. So that means how we can change the x-axis and y-axis. Suppose if I want to plot y-axis on a log scale, how I can do that? So for that, here what you have to do is you go for style, then under graphs you just select modify axis here. Only I'll change the y-axis scale from linear to logarithmic scale. X-axis I'll still keep it as a linear only. So then I'll call it as a semi-log. If I change both as a log, then I'll call it as a logarithmic graph. So now once you change that, then simply what you need to do is you need to replot it. See now this is going to be your log graph. So if you want, you can take the image of this one also and you can paste it there in the your record. So this is about the amplitudes. Then if I want to go for phase angle, so for that again, I need to select this. Now I need to change the result to phase angle here. Then I'll select this and then I'll click on plot. See, now we can see the phase angle is also there, but it is in the log scale. So if you want to change that to the general, you can go for linear scale. Under graphs, again you click modify axis. See, instead of logarithmic, now we can take a linear scale, click OK, and then replot it. See, now you can see the phase angle is 180 degrees or 0 degrees. Like already told to you, so in case of undamped system, your phase angle is 0 or 180. So you can see the lines are here it is 180, here it is 0. So that's it. You need to take this image and you need to paste this one also in your record. So for this log scale is not required because it is very easy to read the values when the 0 to 180 is easy to read it. So if you take log scale, you will get 10 power minus 2, something like that, which is not recommended here. So you take like this and you take the image and you can paste it in the record. Okay, so that's it. So this is what you need to do in case of this 12th experiment. So with this, we completed our entire course, and I think you are in a position to practice all those problems, and I wish you all the best for you. Thank you.